got an air cleaner, so I gotta put that on. I've also got an inner one. These guys here are the bearings for the undercarriage. So that's the bearing for the undercarriage. That guy right there. And I just showed you the undercarriage where those bearings go. So what I've got to do is I've got to get some 2x, 4x. You know, they suggest a 4x4. I think some 2x would work too. Anything big enough to set the head on the far side so that it doesn't collapse when you pull that bearing out. So I just need something a good 2 inches thick that I can stack a couple of them up. Looks like I got some good material here. You know, it's kind of funny talking to the Woodmizer guys. You know, they say, oh, you got a sawmill, you got plenty of 4x4s. No, I don't. I don't stock 4x4s. That's kind of crazy. Who does that? Maybe you do. I don't. So we'll take we'll get some stock here. I got plenty of stock. I can stack up to 2 or 3 inches, no problem. So I'll get some of that. I'll stack that up on the mill, get the mill set up so that I can go ahead and pull that bearing out, and we'll be good to go. So get it pulled out, get it swapped, get that bearing fixed, get a nice smooth operation of the mill head again, and then whoop, head up into the woods in about a week and a half. About a week and a half to get some milling done. I think the better course of action is to set it on this guy and not on that. So I'm gonna roll this back like so and try to set it right on that, like that. See if that works. Okay, so this guy here is the faulty bearing. Rides along this rail, and it was freezing up on me, so we're gonna have to pull that off. So I'm gonna get the book out now and look at the book, because there's a lot of adjustments in this, and that actually helps with the tilt of the head. Now what I'm being told is that with those boards over there, those boards right there, underneath that side of the head, that'll hold the head up, and if you just pull one side off, you shouldn't lose your alignment. And if you do, of course, then you just have to reset the alignment. So I didn't even clean this mill after my last mill job, Logzilla. I got sick. I was actually sick when I was milling it, didn't know I had COVID. So gotta clean it. But for now, what I'm gonna do is I'll get the book and I'll start taking a real good look in the book and see you know, what the book says on how to replace those bearings. You know, I mean, I talked to the rep over at Woodmizer, and they gave me a pretty good idea of what you're supposed to do. Okay, great, that's good, appreciate it. Yeah, now I actually gotta look at a book. So time to look in the books. Adjust nuts to raise saw head, adjust nuts out to lower. That's on that bearing that rides here. So if we look here, we've got the bearing right here. That's the rail. Bearing rides on the back side of this rail. You've got a jam nut in here that just rides on the outside of that guy. And then you have this nut here, which adjusts in and out to raise or lower the head. So probably counting threads, measuring it, making sure you know exactly what that guy is supposed to be would be helpful. And then the question is, how do you pull it off? It doesn't actually tell you. So it ain't my first rodeo. That would be mounting brackets 1 and 2. So I think if we leave the alignment and adjustment bolts, if we can, we take this whole assembly off, replace the bearing, put the whole assembly back on. I think that's how we do it. definitely this guy's the one. Looks like there's only one bolt anyway. Okay, that's interesting. Oh, come on. Don't move like that. We're just winging it here. Oh. Oh. That'll work. Pretty gnarly looking. Alright. Honestly, the bearing doesn't feel bad. I mean, it's got a groove in it. Oh yeah, holy smokes. Okay. I don't know if you could see that. There's a flat spot right here. So it obviously got stuck. It's not flat here. And then it's got a flat spot right there. So, all right. We'll take that and change it out after I get it cleaned up. Yep, since a brake cleaner. We use some WD-40. I may have to go get some brake cleaner, but whew, it's a mess. A lot of grease from the last 5 or 6 years of constantly putting ATF on the rails and then getting them built up with sawdust. And I've had a lot of guys say that they won't pressure wash because it gets water in places you don't want. And I actually had a Woodmizer rep advise me not to pressure wash. I don't know what you do. That's what I was told. Don't do it. All right. All right. I don't know if you can see that flat spot. So it's obviously been dragging on there. So the one thing they'd say is to take this guy and they'll get kind of manipulated a little bit. They'll get worn out a bit from the rails. So to take this cup, clean that cup, reverse this guy in the cup, and then put some ATF on that. Okay, so I got some ATF here. I got to get some more. I ran out of my last job. I always have a little extra, but so we're gonna just put, oops, we're gonna douse it, obviously. It was already pretty well saturated, I think, because I lube that mill always. Okay, this guy goes on like so, and then the bearing goes through. That guy goes on there, and that's it. Tighten that sucker down. Okay. This was pretty tight too. I was kind of impressed with how tight that was. So we'll make sure it's tight. Okay, folks. These go back on here, and we've replaced the bearing. Old bearing there, worn out. Flat spot, big old dead flat spot dragging there. Nice new bearing. Turned that felt around, re-lubed it. It's reasonably clean. So, here we go. Back out to the mill. Now, only one of these was bad. I can replace them both. I got two. I want to see how it runs with one though. Okay. Now, since I didn't move the inside nuts on this adjustment, I should actually be able to just tighten this back up. And that should put her right back on there. Yeah, this nut is underneath the contact for the power strip. So you've got to kind of finger fiddle with it. There's another way, there's another expression we use in the mechanic world for finger fiddle. It starts with an F. Shh, don't tell anybody. All right. Exactly the way I took it off is the way it's going to go back on. Those are about 4. Ooh, that's tight, I guess, huh? I think that's too tight, maybe. All right, well, that was easy. I got to check the alignment still. I'll do that probably tomorrow. But otherwise, using the block keeps the head stable. I do need to check tightness on that one bolt underneath that goes straight up that you saw me loosen up when the mill head wouldn't move back and forth. It was too tight. That one I need to look up the tightness on because it seems kind of silly. It's not a jam nut. It's not an eye lock. It could easily come loose. So it obviously you want to torque it to a certain amount. But when I had it just tightened, snug tight, it was too tight and the mill head wouldn't move back and forth. So I backed it off a couple turns and lo and behold, everything is running smooth as silk. So got to check the alignment on those things. I'll do that before I go out milling. I really have no plans to go milling now until the 8th. So I got about a week and a couple days. So I got plenty of time to check the mill in terms of alignment. I think I'm going to leave the other bearing off for now. Things are running really smooth. Might as well save it for a spare. Very interesting that one locked up and it had a groove in it and a flat spot. So it was probably too tight, caught up on some grid or something, and then just dragged down the side of the mill and got that flat spot. So it's gone now. Got a new one in there. So hopefully that solves that problem. So wish me luck. We'll see what happens.